Hello and welcome to Cole Red Plays Raid Shadow Legends. I am Cole Red. Thank you for joining me. So today is Monday, and as I mentioned in last week's video, I am changing up the format to these Monday weekly preview videos. Now, don't worry if you are here for your no-fail weekly plan. I will still be doing that each week, but that will take place in the second half of the video. I want to dedicate the top of the video each Monday to a topic of greater significance for the week ahead. Now, this week, that is PACKMASTER SHY'EK. The PACKMASTER is the new Fusion Legendary for July. The event starts on July 4th. I'm going to be going over his kit and give you my impression about whether or not he's worth going for. So I hope you're ready for it. Let's get started. Just a quick announcement. My Takeover Tuesday live stream is tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Every week I give away free account takeovers to members of my Discord community. So if you are interested in a takeover or you just like takeover content, you should come check out the live stream. In addition, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and consider joining our Discord community. Thanks so much for the support. Now let's get back to the video. So here is PACKMASTER SHY'EK. Now I want to comment on something I'm seeing in the character design that may be indicating a new trend in champion design from Plarium. Now, last month's Fusion champion was the Incarnate, and the Incarnate was the first time we'd seen a champion launched that created a synergy with another champion that already existed. So the Incarnate synergizes with the Arbiter, but those two champions were not launched at the same time, right? Arbiter was launched over 4 years ago, Incarnate was launched last month. And now we're seeing another champion here in PACKMASTER who has synergies with currently existing champions. In his case, all of his skills interact with all of the Hound champions from the game, right? He's the PACKMASTER, they're the Pack. Terror Beast, Goremask, Houndspawn, Hellfang, Fellhound, and Stitched Beast. So we may be seeing a way that Plarium is designing new champions in order to add value to older champions who may have been power crept or even become irrelevant, right? Arbiter is slightly more valuable now than she was before the Incarnate's existence, and all of these Hounds may be more likely to be used now that the PACKMASTER is in the game. Now, we have no information about whether or not this kind of champion design will continue into the future. It may depend upon the popularity of these two champions. I know a lot of people skipped the Incarnate Fusion. I did. And the reason primarily was because we've had so many great fusions lately that when we had an average fusion, it just felt like an opportunity to take a break. Now, I think the PACKMASTER might fit a similar mold. I don't think the Incarnate's a bad champion. I don't think the PACKMASTER's a bad champion at all, but maybe not as powerful as champions we've seen lately, like Newt, like Armand, right? Champions that are absolute game changers, or even like an Astrid who is just incredibly versatile and usable everywhere. So the PACKMASTER may be harder to use. He may eventually get to the place where all of the theory crafters kind of figure out some optimal uses for him, and he could be part of some very interesting solutions. But let's go ahead and look through his kit, and we'll kind of decide whether or not he is a good champion on his own, whether or not he's worth going for as the July Fusion. So let's go ahead and start with his A1 kill command. Now this attacks one enemy. It has a, looks like 70% chance when booked of placing a decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Then teams up with any ally Hounds to attack. The allies joining the attack will use their default skills. Now this is a really interesting A1. This may be an incredibly powerful A1. First of all, it seems like he attacks twice, right? It says attacks one enemy, then teams up to attack. So I think he actually will hit twice. But consider this. Fellhound has an AoE A1. So if you have multiple Fellhounds built, every time PACKMASTER uses his A1, you can be getting 2 or 3 Fellhounds all using an AoE A1. You could put them in stun sets or provoke sets or just do a ton of damage. So this feels like a really powerful A1 in very specific cases, right? It's going to require that you build a team around the Hounds, and Who knows how viable that's going to be, but this could potentially be valuable in places like Hydra, where you get 6 champions to build, a roster out of, and it's going to be easier to fit a hound into that team, or maybe in Doom Tower waves, let's say, or other wave-based content where a lot of ally attacks could be useful. So I think this has the potential to be a very interesting A1. Now the A2 is Pack Alpha, which has a 3-turn cooldown when booked. This removes all debuffs from Packmaster and heals him by 50% of his max HP, and then places a shield buff on him for 2 turns, and the value is equal to any surplus heal. The shield cannot be removed, stolen, or transferred if at least one hound is on the same team. In addition, he places a taunt buff and a reflect damage buff on himself for 2 turns. Again, this is on a 3-turn cooldown. So 2-turn taunt on a 3-turn cooldown. And these buffs cannot be removed, stolen, or transferred if at least one hound is on the team. Now, I think this actually looks like a really interesting skill, especially for Hydra. Now, think about it this way. You're going to get a shield, a taunt, and a reflect damage buff, none of which can be removed if you have a hound on the team. Can't be removed or stolen or transferred. But this makes him a really easy mischief tank, right? He can tank the head of mischief. He's going to have 3 buffs basically that nobody else has. He's going to have the taunt, the reflect, and the shield. Plus, of course, the taunt makes him get attacked. So I think potentially, since those buffs can't be removed, right, he's going to be a great mischief tank, or at least he could be a mischief tank. Now let's look at the A3 Blood Howl, which is on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 25%. That's nice. A little bit of extra juice in the team. Also has a 100% chance of placing a block buffs debuff on all enemies for 2 turns, again on a 3-turn cooldown. This debuff cannot be resisted if you have at least one hound on the team. So again, I'm thinking Hydra. Block buffs is really important for Hydra. This guy feels like he's going to be the perfect head of mischief counter if you can figure out a way to get one of these hounds onto the team, right? You do have to use that extra team spot for a hound. All right, now let's look at the passive We Hunt as One. When attacked, places a hex debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. Ally attacks on targets under a hex debuff placed by this champion deal 20% more damage. When this champion is attacked, all ally hounds will counter attack. Now, I don't see a cooldown on this, so it could be that anytime he's hit with an AoE or anytime he's targeted, all of the hounds will counterattack every single time. In addition, the hex is really interesting. Again, I'm thinking about the head of mischief. If the head of mischief is targeting him because he has all of these extra buffs, and then the head of mischief constantly is getting a hex literally every attack, this could be your hex champion. Now, the hex doesn't spread to the entire team, but the hex is mostly useful for the head of mischief. So this could be a really cool, maybe normal or hard mode solution for the head of mischief. I don't know if it's worth bringing a hound into the team for brutal or nightmare. But then you also get all of these counterattacks, and this makes wave content really interesting. We could see some interesting team compositions built around Packmaster SHY'EK, and I think probably the most common combo is going to be with Fellhound, but there may be value in some of these other hound champions as well. Finally, the aura is increases ally speed in all battles by 19%, which is great. That means he can actually be your lead. You could potentially bring him in with only hellhounds, only hounds, or maybe one other support champion, a reviver or a cleanser, or somebody who gives you something that none of the hounds do. Like I said, this could be a really interesting opportunity to theorycraft. Now, is he overwhelmingly strong? I don't think so. I don't think so. We don't know what kind of damage he does. He is an HP-based champion. He should be fairly tanky, and I think it's likely that he won't do a ton of damage, and that the damage should be coming from his pack, right? That makes the most sense. They're going to be counterattacking. They're going to be ally attacking. So I don't think his multipliers are going to be great. So you're really going to need to explore these hounds and how they can synergize with the Packmaster in order to get the most value out of them. but it could be really fun. I think he could be a fun champion to build. I think I will be pursuing him this month. I'm not going to kill myself for this fusion. So if I happen to fail this fusion or I have to bail out halfway through because baby stuff is going on or whatever, I'm not going to feel bad about that. But I do think he's interesting enough to at least pursue for now. If you are in the early game and you're thinking about this champion as your very first fusion, I would say if you have a lot of resources and you're really excited to do a fusion, he's not bad. He's not bad. And you might be in the situation where he could really help you in Hydra as well. And I do think he's going to be a good Hydra champion. So consider that. But if you need to pass on him, I wouldn't be too broken up about it. Okay, so you can decide for yourself if you're going to go for the Packmaster. But a reminder here, we do have the Fusion warm-up event that is live right now. And so you want to make sure you're getting your 15 points a day here. This is really easy. All you have to do is level up any artifact at all to level 12 once a day. And that's going to get you your 15 points. It could even be a 1-star relic. You can see that would be totally fine. I will say one thing. I leave my energy here and let the game auto collect it for me because then it goes into my mailbox for 6 days. And so that's just giving me additional flexibility with these rewards. Now, I will grab all of the other rewards because why not? But if you wanted to leave any of these rewards here, they don't go away. They get put into your mailbox, I think 24 hours after that event expires. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the other events that are going on. There is a CVC coming tomorrow. It is a personal reward CVC. And the reason I'm mentioning that right now is because there is also an Altar of Souls event going on, which has a boost. You see, there are 2 times chance of 5-star and 6-star perfect souls from Mortal Soul Stones, and then a 2 times chance of 6-star perfect souls from Immortal Soul Stones. That's it. But you do get points for these for CVC, so I wouldn't rush to use your stones just yet. I would hold them until tomorrow when the CVC has launched, and that'll give you some extra points. Now, I do want to mention some of the events and tournaments that are going on right now, because as you can see with this Dungeon Divers event, we do have Primal Quartz as a reward. We're also having these chests as rewards, some Chaos Powder. These are unusual rewards. I think they're high value rewards. So if you have the energy and you are interested in doing these events, you may as well go ahead and do them, especially if you think you're going to skip the fusion. If you need to save resources, be aware that you don't know what you're going to get from these chests. You can see what the options are, but you don't know what out of those options you're going to get. But I do think it's a worthwhile track. It's not a crazy number of points here. It's a typical Dungeon Divers. I like the Chaos Powder specifically. And the Diamond Chest has an opportunity for both a Void Shard and a Legendary Tome, on top of some other cool things like an Eternal Soul Stone and an XP Barrel, some Eternal Soul Essences. So it could be worth it going after that Diamond Chest. Now, the tournaments that you're going to be pursuing here, right now, there is a Fire Knight Turn Attack tournament. I think the Turn Attack tournaments are a good opportunity for people to work on optimizing their dungeon team. So I just spent about an hour revamping my Fire Knight Turn Attack team for stage 20, and I got it down about 15 turns. I reduced it from somewhere around 45 turns to somewhere around 30 turns, and reduced the time spent from about a minute 40 to a minute 15. So I'm saving 25 seconds per run. Now, I did that for this particular tournament, but it's just good in general because that's going to help me moving forward. Anytime I do a regular Fire Knight tournament, I'm now going to be saving a lot of time. Right? I'm going to be saving 25 seconds per run, and that's really nice. I also happen to improve my champions builds, and so they're going to be more useful in other content as well. So I do think this is a great opportunity, and so consider that. In addition, we have a dragon tournament. You can see this one is using only epic champions. I think we've already had a dragon tournament with only epic champions. But again, challenge rules are, I think it's fun to mix it up a little bit. But one of the reasons I wanted to mention this is because of the event schedule. I want to show you this as well. So as you can see, we have the Fire Knight Turn Attack tournament. We have the Dragon tournament. And we also have the Dungeon Divers event that is going on. And all of these are giving Primal Quartz. So I like to see Plarium giving us more access to Primal Quartz. The numbers have been climbing over the past several months with the changes to Hydra Clash and some of the other additional events that have been giving us Primal Quartz. So just be aware that it is out there. And if you have not really pursued Primal Quartz in the past because you thought it was too hard to reach, this tells you that there are opportunities out there and you just want to keep your eyes open. Even if you collect it slowly, you can always use those shards during a champion chase or maybe a 2x Primal Shard event and hope you pull something good. You don't have to pull a mythical champion from a Primal Shard in order to get value out of it. Right? Those are still high value shards and worth pursuing if you have the time, inclination, and energy to do so. Now, as you can see here on the calendar, there is no actual description of the Fusion event. That will start on Thursday the 4th. So at that point on Thursday, I'm sure all of this will then populate with all of the events from the Fusion calendar. We'll also get the actual graphic of the calendar, and I will be doing a no-fail Fusion plan when that drops on Thursday. Okay, so getting back to the game, let's go ahead and look at the various timers that are going on right now. So we do have the clan quests resetting tonight. You can see in just about 9 hours. It's going to be less when you see this video. So if you haven't already grabbed your quests, you want to make sure to grab your quests and complete them. You can see I need to do a Hydra key and finish off my Fire Knight Turn Attack tournament, and I should be good with a couple of extra elites this week, which is always nice. In addition, make sure to grab any materials from the clan shop that you want before the reset. Oh, I got to make sure to get my Void Shard. As always, Arena reset just happened last night, so make sure to switch up your defenses. As you can see in my tag team arena, I've already put my one-man defenses in again. I remembered to set my alarm like I told you to for the last month or so to put my full defense back in 48 hours before the end of the cycle. And as a result, I have been promoted back into Silver 1, and I'm hopefully on my way to Gold. I really think it's helpful to set that reminder in your calendar so you always do it, because it's always the same day every week. You know what I mean? So you can decide if you need 24 hours or 48 hours or 72 hours or whatever you need to make sure that you are at least holding serve, if not climbing in your tiers. Looking at Doom Tower, we still have more than half of the duration remaining, 2 weeks and 3 days. I will try to remind you to just keep pushing, because we're going to have a Fusion event coming up, which means Summon Rush and Champion Chase in the next 10 days or so. So you want to make sure that you get all of the shards that are here. You also want to make sure that you're getting things like your legendary tomes. This is a great source for resources that I think sometimes people don't really pursue, or maybe they only do hard, but there are plenty of resources in normal as well. So make sure that you're doing as much of Doom Tower as you can. There really is there are very few places in the game that give you as good free resources as Doom Tower. So make sure that you're in here. Also, if you want to start completing your secret rooms for another fragment champion that you might need for that Champion Chase tournament, that's probably going to come in about 10 days time. That's a good idea as well. Now, the Cursed City is also another excellent place for resources. We've only got a week left, so you want to make sure that you're coming in here, and don't forget to do your boss fights. I have completed the normal Amius already this month. I haven't done the hard mode yet. I need a couple of hours to do that. But as you can see, you know, you can get a lot, not just from the nodes here where you're actually getting like the gear drops and all of the resources. But remember, you also have this progress bar, right? So as you clear more stages each week, you get the quests done, you collect these candles, and that progresses you down this path. This path has some nice stuff, including Carnage the Anarch, who is a free mythical champion that everybody can collect. And this is just a grind, right? This is one of those things, kind of like maybe like Lydia with the faction crypts, where you just need to keep progressing. But the more of these quests that you do, the faster you'll get to that free mythical. Just a quick note about personal reward clan v clans. This is really the best opportunity to go ahead and drop those arena tokens into your Great Hall. It's also a great time to use up your skill tomes. You can see I've been hoarding skill tomes. It's a great time to summon fragment champions that you are interested in from the portal. This is a great time to get all of those points on the board, help your clan out in terms of winning your CVC this week. Also, another good place of points, it's a little bit of a grind or, kind of tedious, is going in here and forging gear. If you have materials to forge gear, one of the things that I like to do is actually find something where I have a lot of the 3 and 4 star materials, because this gets you a lot of silver, which can help you with those artifact enhancements. You can craft just hundreds of these and just keep selling all of them. And that'll give you, you can see the investment here is only 1 Magisteel bar, so it's relatively cheap. So I can forge 600 pieces here, over 600 pieces. And that's going to give me a lot of silver. And it's going to give me a lot of points in terms of my CVC as well. It does take time, though. So just plan on that if you want to do this. Give yourself a couple of hours to go and clear out some of these forge materials. Okay, so that is it for this week's weekly preview and no fail weekly plan. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to be going for the Packmaster or if you've figured out any cool synergies that I didn't consider in this video. I'd love to hear all of the theory crafting ideas. That's one of the things that gets me excited about Raid even after 3 years of playing this game. And also let me know, what do you think of the new format? I'm still getting feedback. It seems mostly positive, but I want to make sure that this is providing you with value on your Monday. All right, thanks so much for hanging out. I have been Cole Red, and I will see you in another video soon.